everyone. This is Margaret Manning with 60 and Me. This is the place where women over 60 come to be inspired. And my guest today is Judith Boyd. Judith is a blogger. She has a wonderful blog called The Style Crone. She is the Style Crone. And she's here with us tonight to talk about something that's absolutely fascinating to me, and that is hats. As you can see, Judith is wearing a beautiful hat. Hi, Judith, by the way.
Hi. Hi, Margaret. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's lovely to have you here. And Judith is wearing a beautiful hat. It's actually brown. It looks a little black to me, but it's brown. It's a structured beret, and it's just beautiful.
Right.
And
Thank you.
we were just talking about hats and the fact that, in a way, to me, they're one of the most interesting items of clothing. So tell me a little bit about your background with hats, so Judith, because you have got a history, and then I want to talk a bit more about the psychology of hats. But tell
Okay.
me where you got
Sounds
started.
good.
Yeah.
Well, I, in my career, was a master's level psychiatric nurse.
Right.
And in the 80s, my friend and myself, who was also a psych nurse, started a hat shop.
Right.
But prior to the hat shop, I had been in the 70s wearing vintage hats, and I would even wear them to work. I worked in a mental health center. It was totally acceptable, and all the patients loved it. And so because of that passion that was developing, I started a hat shop with my partner, and that was in existence for a little bit over 4 years. And
Right.
so during that time, my passion for hats escalated. And even after the hat shop closed, it has continued to escalate. And I have a room in my house that is called the hat room, and that's where all of my hats live.
All right. Own up, Judith. How many hats do you have?
I've never counted. It might be embarrassing for me to find out how many I do have, but there was a newly elected member to the United States Congress who has 900 hats.
Wow.
And excuse me, I think I'm going to have to feature her on my blog in some kind of way.
That is amazing. Is it an older woman? Just not that that makes any
Yes,
difference, but
yes, I think so. Yes,
yeah.
yes,
I guess you
yes.
have to have a accumulation period of hats. Well,
Yeah, I'm a
I have
collector.
well, I think I have about 10 hats. And they're all berets, and I'm a big beret person. But anyway, the reason, and that's fascinating, and I know that you have a real passion for hats for people who have had cancer,
Right,
turbans that you have made in the
right,
past. And so your hat interest is very, deep. And
right,
I love the fact when you mentioned that you'd worked in a health group,
right.
that the patients didn't mind that somehow hats make you approachable.
Well,
Do
I
you
wouldn't
agree?
wear a cocktail hat, but
No. But
I would wear a simple
yeah,
design as I'm wearing today.
yeah.
And so I would have a category of work hats and a category of evening hats and a category of hats to go shopping, grocery shopping. So I don't leave the house without a hat. So it is a passion, and it's a fun something that I consider to be fun and self-expressive.
Well, I think it's great. But I have a theory about hats I wanted to chat with you about, because I think that there is something about hats that makes you very approachable. Whenever I wear my berets out into the world, and I'm like you, I wear a hat most every day, um,
Uh-huh.
I just feel people smile more. There's just maybe I'm smiling more, but
Maybe you are.
have you had that experience that somehow you just,
Absolutely. I
yeah.
I hardly ever leave the house when someone doesn't make a comment about my hat. So it's a good introductory accessory.
Better than a
And
puppy or a kitten.
and I
Yeah,
think sometimes, if people don't like my hat, they're not going to approach me. But don't you think it's a good way to weed people out because you wouldn't want to talk with, or you wouldn't
exactly.
you wouldn't want to uh, become friends with someone who didn't
Yeah.
like your hat.
I mean, they've
So,
got to be. Well, okay, but I have a thought about this, because we were talking about this earlier about our personalities, you and I think
right,
we both agreed that even though we're in the public eye, I have my business 60 and Me. I'm out there with
right,
talking about it all the time, interviewing
right.
neuroscientists and all kinds of people. I'm actually quite a shy person. And
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying I'm an introvert to the point of I don't get charged with people. Like, I like energy of people, but
Right,
I'm kind of quiet. And I was
right.
just wondering if you think that maybe hat people, wear hats to kind of just compensate a little bit. What do you think?
It's interesting because I know people that wear hats that I consider extroverts, and I know people who wear hats who are introverts. So maybe it's across the spectrum. For myself, I'm kind of like you. I'm in the middle. I I'm very quiet in certain situations, so I'm not really an extrovert.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe it is my way to express myself because I'm hesitant to do that
Well,
in
I,
certain situations.
well, so I'll tell you what. I'm going to put my hat on because
Okay.
I want to be like you when I grow up. So this is my little black beret. I'll wear that one.
That's great. It looks
And
great on
I wear them
you.
all the
You
time,
sound like
and
an
I just love them.
experienced beret wearer.
Well, actually, I don't know why I like berets. I must have, sort of a French streak in me or something. Although having said that, I don't. I went like you talked about. We went to Paris, and I went to Paris, and there weren't that many berets anymore. So we're setting a
Right. Well,
trend.
yeah. Just contributing to the health of the millinery industry.
Exactly, which I think is a good industry to support. So
Right.
tell me about your hat attack because on your blog, Style Crone, you actually have a. Is it every month you have kind of a
The
celebration of
first,
hats?
yes, the first of every month on, for example, now it's going to be the 1st of December. So Daniel, who is my photographer, been my friend since the 80s.
Uh
When
huh.
I opened my first hat shop, he leased the space to us for the first hat shop.
Oh wow.
And now he's still my friend, and now he's generously um, my photographer, so generous. And so the hat for Hat Attack has already been photographed, myself in the hat, and it's up on my blog from the 1st to the 7th of every month, and
Right.
anybody can contribute and share a photo of themselves in
In a
any
hat. Okay.
hair or headwear, a hair flower, a head wrap, anything that they adore for their head. And all you need to do to contribute or participate is to have a URL. So you can have
Yeah.
a Facebook URL
Uh
of
huh.
yourself in a hat, and
Hmm.
then you can share that link on Hat Attack. So, Margaret, you could contribute.
Okay, I'll do that. No, and this is so funny because as we're sitting here, my energy level has gone up. I don't know what it is. It's
It
just
must be the
something.
hat.
I think that hats are energy drivers. I think that they
I
do
do.
give you a little sense of, well, I don't know, just mystique and just that
Uh-huh.
there's more. That it's a kind of a mystery that you're not that you're hiding something that you're just, I don't know, amplifying, who
Uh-huh.
you are. But I would encourage people to do the hat attack. I mean, I've actually gone to visit your site when people have added their pictures, and they're marvelous. Don't you
Yes,
think
and
it's a way of expressing, just as older women, just expressing a little bit more dramatically that you're present, you're visible, you're there?
well, you get better seats at
Do
restaurants,
you?
and I could
Seriously?
have done a research project on that, but
Wow.
it does make you more visible. And since part of what I want to do is
Yes.
to uh, contribute to the visibility of older women, that it's okay for us to be out and about, and we're just as important as any other age category in our culture. And so I think maybe a hat kind of announces that a little bit,
I like
hopefully.
that. Maybe we could start a movement. Well, there is a movement, isn't there? The Red Hat Society. Now that I
Yeah,
stopped to think
yeah,
about it, there is a group
that's
of
true.
older women that actually
Yes,
do wear red hats, and that's kind of
it's
their
great.
calling card.
I think
But I
it's
think
great.
that you're right. And I think both you and I have a passion for older women feeling that they have a place in society. It's okay to want to look good and to feel good, and that we have a contribution still to make. It's
Yes, and
really
I
like this the wisdom of the stall crone, really, or the
the crown.
crone.
Yes, it's the last phase of a woman's life. And I think it's a very important phase to figure out how we can contribute to our culture, what we can pass down, how we
Mm,
can make the world more healthy in any way possible that we can think
yeah.
of, for generations to come. So that's, I think for me, wearing hats is part of that. And I don't know how we can make that connection, but I think maybe anything that we love to do um, adds to how we feel about ourselves, and then that energy contributes.
I really like that. And that actually applies to style as well. I mean, anything
Right,
that adds to and embellishes our inner spirit, our soul,
right,
or whatever you want to call it, is
right.
good, and it's powerful. And as
Yes.
that crone was a powerful woman in society, she wasn't an outcast. She was vibrant and
She was
involved.
very integral and
Yeah,
vibrant part of the culture.
yeah.
And so let's bring it back.
I agree. Let's bring it back. Well, I'm so glad to have chatted with you. You are an inspiration, Judith. I will encourage everyone to go look at the Style Crone site. You amaze me every time with the way you approach your life and your vitality, your passion. Thank you again for being here. It's really great to talk with you.
Thank you, Margaret.
Thanks, Judith.